Oh, hello, my wonderful, beautiful broskis of a wonderful, beautiful broskis and broskis of a wonderful, beautiful Maverick Nation. And welcome to part 2 of What If Izuku Was Ichigo's son. This is part 2. And part 2 is going to start with basically Izuku in class whenever all of a sudden All Might appears, going through the door, and being like, I am here, walking through the door like a normal person. And Izuku wouldn't really care if he was walking through a door like a normal person or not. To be honest. Basically what Izuku had told them is that they would be doing combat training. All Might would further elaborate by saying that it was going to be 2 versus 2, a hero team, a villain team, and he would even say the objectives. And that they were going to pick the teams based on like lottery thing. And it would be Team A versus Team D. Team A being the hero team, Team D being the villain team. Would be the first match. And this first match would be Izuku and a certain someone else, Mikage Takayami, versus Bakugo and Todoroki. Now, Izuku, knows that Bakugo is going to want to go after him, so he decides to let Takayami go after the bomb. Which, Dark Shadow is strong enough to where it could just break through the ice. He tried to flash freeze him. So, Takayami should be good. Until he gets up there. So, yeah. Basically, Bakugo would come barely towards him. Like, Deku? And Izuku would be thinking, oh my god. Literally still that name? I hate this. Idiots like this guy. Rage-filled idiots. Okay, nothing but about their own ego. And status. How disgusting. And Izuku would just be like, now, it's time to show you what a real power is, Katsuki. And Izuku would just disappear. And he would reappear behind, Bakugo. And he would have his sword. And Bakugo would be like, wait, what the? How did you? And Izuku's like, haven't you noticed? I always have this with me. I always have Kachi no Naiha with me. Now, allow me to show you. Emote Kachi no Naiha. Suga Tensho! And he would just blast Bakugo with one Getsuga Tensho, and he would just be out. Because he would have blasted him through a wall. All the way out to the other side of, the Model City Gamma. And, a blast that reaches that far out, All Might would be thinking, good lord. No wonder that Mayuri Kurotsuchi guy put in a good word for Izuku. He is insanely powerful. And then Izuku would just proceed to disappear again, and then reappear back where Tokiyami is, currently having a hard as hell time keeping up with Todoroki. Shoto Todoroki. Apparently, currently, Shoto is, basically handing him his feather covered ass. Is basically what Shoto's doing right now. He's basically handing him his ass. He's getting his ass, Tokiyama's getting his ass handed to him. And he's like, help me! And Izuku's just like, tisk, tisk, tisk. Shoto. Now what am I going to do with you? As he would actually activate something special, is what Izuku would do. He would activate something that not just Ichigo would be able to realize, and another specific captain, actually 2 captains, would be able to realize this as well. Maybe even 3. Those 3 being Uehara, Yoruichi, and Soifon. Why them? Well, basically the entire time of the Soul Society arc, Yoruichi and Uehara were basically together. And Soifon, looks up to Yoruichi like a god, like goddess. And to the point where basically she was learning how to use it, this special ability. And they're all thinking, 3 of them are thinking, he's going to kill himself. And Ichigo, even though he's also able to sense this, he really wouldn't give a shit. He'd still be in his time of grieving, so he would still have, momentary, would still have some time before he could get truly, get over the loss of his, first son, Kasui Kurosaki. And, well, what Izuku would be doing, basically, he would have just disappeared from Shoto's vision, and then all of a sudden, BAM! Shoto would just get hit, and he would just be sent flying all the way into a wall, and then he gets skyrocketed all the way outside of, Model City Gamma. They'd be like, what the hell just happened there? And Izuku would be like, simple. It's called Shunko. It's not Shunpo, Shunko. That thing that Yoruichi was trying to stop Soifon from using because she felt that she was not ready to use it yet. You would have already learned how to master Shunko. And he would have just used it to blast Todoroki out of the freaking sky. would hit so hard that he would have just like shot up in the air. And well, then touch, basically touch, and like the hero's win? Question mark. Like more like the heroes came, saw, and kicked ass. Well, mostly Izuku, but you know, Tokiyami was a good distraction. You know, in the way of getting his ass handed to him on a silver platter. With the name engraved on it, from Shoto Todoroki to Tokiyami, like Fumikage Tokiyami. Yeah, would have been that bad. So, yeah, basically. After that, a good time after that, be the USJ. And I'm gonna say, only had 11 minutes, so yes, the USJ attack. Everything would go up as in canon, that is, until all the villains would show up. Like, all of them would show up. Like Shigaraki, Kurogiri, and the Nomu, and all of the fodder villains. Basically, now we all know that Izuku is able to use Shunko. However, he didn't go past his Shikai. And for this whole thing, he'd be like, Izuku would be, all the way in the back, and he'd be analyzing how things were going, other people trying to fight off the Nomu, because All Might wasn't there yet, and, none of their attacks would be working. However, Izuku would indeed realize that there was indeed a weak spot. It seemed to be the exposed brain. It's just, the Nomu was just too damn powerful. However, that wasn't going to be for long, as Izuku would just decide, the hell with this. Like, he'd just be like, the hell with this. Izuku would get an idea, as he would hold his two hands out in front of him, with his sword clasped in between them, with the blade out. Izuku would begin to think and channel his Reiatsu into his body. Channel all of his Reiatsu, and something would begin to happen. All of a sudden, something beautiful would happen. Not these rats, they're not beautiful. All of a sudden, you would hear from Izuku, Bankai! You'd be like, basically, he would look to everyone and he would say, Reemerge! Kachi no Nai Ken no Ken! Bankai! Yes, that's right. Number one, Ichigo's theme from Bleach. Basically, will be in the background, and it would just be an epic scene. Izuku in his basically now mastered Bankai, the full extent, for now at least, in Shinigami's side, and he would just charge in. He would say, Getsuga Senshio! Full power! And, well, basically the full power gets a Getensho, will blow away the Nomu. And that would just be the one thing that would cement to Shigaraki that this guy is going to be a problem in the future, I can just tell. But before Kirigiri could really teleport any of them, basically at superhuman speeds, he would just appear right in front of Kirigiri, and he would hit him with the blunt side of the sword, smacking Kirigiri all the way into a wall, knocking him out, making it impossible for the villains to escape. And he would even pen Shigaraki with his Ryatsu. And he would even use his Ryatsu to start to look into Shigaraki's mind, see inside his inner world. He may not have his own Patel, but he does have his own mind. And it seems that there's a lot of mental blockades and a lot of darkness inside Shigaraki's mind, as simply crying out, Bankai! And simply it would just blow away all the mental blockades, and the darkness would subside and would go completely away as the light would appear overhead, as Izuku would get to see everything. Everything how Shigaraki got into the hands of, Izuku. And, well, just how that went. And even how the fact that Shigaraki knows that Kurogiri is actually Aizawa's friend. Which I don't remember Aizawa's friend's name, but I do remember that Kurogiri is supposed to be Aizawa's friend. And, well, I would feel that Shigaraki would indeed know that. So now Izuku knows that, and would definitely like to share that information with Aizawa whenever Aizawa gets back to Stat. So, yeah. Basically, Izuku would be fixing Shigaraki's head. And whenever Shigaraki finally got control of his mind back, he would be Shigaraki no more. He would be Tenko Shimura once again. Tenko Shimura would no longer be dead. Now the one who was dead would be Shigaraki Tomura. And now, the one who would get the chance to live again, Tenko Shimura. And Ichigo, even sensing how his son had done this, would actually appear before his son, and, well, he wouldn't know what to say, to be honest. He wouldn't know what to say to his son. He wouldn't really know what to say. He would not have a clue what to say. He had been so distant from his son for so long. It would be awkward to say the least, and to say the most. Just freaking very, very, very tense. And, well, something that actually would make Ichigo actually proud of his son, Izuku, would be whenever Izuku would say that he would take full responsibility of taking care of Tenko until he could get back on his feet. And even take care of things in regards to helping Aizawa figure out about the whole thing with him and Kirigiri and their connections. Yes, that's a lot of responsibility that he just put on his plate. And Ichigo is, actually kind of commemorating him for that inside his head. And, his inner hollow and inner, Quincy side, the hollow side is also his Shinigami side, but whatever, are just thank the boy already. Just tell him you're proud of him. Why are you just acting so damn stubborn? Is what the hollow / Shinigami side would be saying. Also known as, should I just call him freaking Shiro? Was that the name that, is it the other name that people call him by? Shiro? Should I just call him Shiro or Hollow Ichigo? Maybe I should just call him Shiro. Shiro would just be just freaking, commemorate the boy, in actual real life. Freaking compliment him, if you feel he needs to be complimented. If you're proud of him, be proud of him. Stop being so damn stubborn. I mean, I thought I was bad. But you're a freaking nervous wreck. And Ichigo would just be hey, that's not very nice. And actually, the Quincy side of Zangetsu, which I'm just gonna name him Old Man Zangetsu, because that's what Ichigo called him in the beginning. So Old Man Zangetsu will basically be saying, he'd basically be agreeing with, Shiro here. He'd basically be agreeing. Dude, if you're proud of him, if you feel like commemorating him for being responsible and doing what he feels is the right thing to do, then do it. Don't let your little feelings of before hold you back from actually being a father to your son. Or did you forget that part as well? The fact that he's actually your son. And that would extra hurt Ichigo. The fact that Old Man Zangetsu would say that to him. That, did you forget that he was actually your son? Did you actually forget that? I'm wondering if that's actually the case. That would hurt Ichigo deep down inside. And Shiro and Old Man Zangetsu would both notice this. And this is whenever Ichigo would basically realize that he's been, pretty much a dick for most of Izuku's, after what happened with Kasui. And so no wonder he wouldn't want to live in the same house as him. Plus, he's like barely ever around, so what would it really matter? The only one else who actually gives a shit, seems to give a shit, is, his mother and someone who he didn't even all that know much except for knowing that he was a captain of the Soul Society. Mayuri. Like, he is actually more comfortable around Mayuri than he is his own father. And that's just testament to how much of a dick Ichigo's been to Izuku over these past few years of him grieving over his original son's death. And so Ichigo decides that he's going to do whatever he needs to do to make up for how much of a dick he's been. And Shiro may be like, maybe too late. You never know. So I advise you hurry up and get the hell out of your mind. And Old Man Zangetsu would be like, yes, I do indeed agree with him again. And, Ichigo would just be like, okay. Have to make it there. But maybe, even whenever I do make it there, it may indeed be too late. Which is why he made it to where he wouldn't be living with a family. Because it doesn't really seem to be a family to him. So, he lived off somewhere else. Basically, but still, Izuku would feel not Izuku. Ichigo would feel obligated to apologize to his son either way. And that's what he would do, after everything with the USJ. Basically, Ichigo would take Izuku somewhere private, and this is where, Ichigo would basically spill all the beans about his talk with Shiro and Old Man Zangetsu inside of his, inner Zanpakuto world, and how they had got him to realize how much of a dick he was being to his own, only other son left, and even to the point where they were actually asking him, do you even remember that he's your son? So, Ichigo just decided that he should actually, apologize for being such a dick. And, well, basically Izuku wouldn't have any words for his father. A part of him would be glad that his father finally saw sense, but also that part of him would also be even though he did see sense, he saw sense far too late. Izuku is in his own ways now. He's his own person. And he's gonna do things his own way. Not let anyone else, try to mess with him. And his way of doing things. So, Ichigo would truly realize that it was indeed too late. That he had screwed the pooch whenever he started acting like a dick to his son in the first place. And that he had realized it too late. However, Ichigo adds on, at least try not to act this way to your mother. At least visit her sometimes. And, Izuku would tell Ichigo, his father, that he was indeed planning on doing exactly that. You know, someday in the future, visiting his mother, because he's sure that she's pretty, lonesome in that house all by herself with nothing but memories of the good old days before Kasui died and Ichigo became all hatred filled. And just basically assholery towards their other son, Izuku. Or he may basically, he would have just said that he was indeed planning to visit Orihime, his mother, in the future, to make sure that she didn't truly actually have to feel like she was really alone. That loneliness feeling. And so, it would be how it be. And it would be later that night in which the visit would actually happen. Damn ass. Or Hime would simply just be, you know, moving about the house, not really knowing what to do, whenever all of a sudden she would hear a knock on the door. And she would see that it was not her husband or her oldest son. No, her oldest son was dead, but it was the youngest son, the younger brother. It was Izuku. Izuku was back. And Izuku would say that this was actually just a momentary visit. That he doesn't plan to really return here to stay. He has his own place in which he wishes to live on his own. He feels like it would be better that way. But in order to make sure that his mother never truly felt alone, he would visit from time to time. He would ensure her that. And, well, Orihime would just make it a point to enjoy the visit as much as she could before Izuku would try to leave. And leave he would eventually. Orihime feeling a warmth in her heart that she hadn't felt in a long time. A warmth only similar to something that she would feel whenever her and Ichigo would see Izuku and Kasui playing out in the fields, doing what brothers usually do, having a good old time, being the best of friends. This sudden reminder would be stopped whenever she would hear a voice, and she would turn around as she would see both Rukia and Renji, or at least Renji would have been there. That is, if Rukia had told him that she was actually going out. But Rukia wanted this to be secret. She wanted this to be time in between the two of them, basically discussing what they would do now that this whole thing has basically blown up across all of Japan. This whole support company slash Department of Research and Development for Earth type thing that her son is responsible for creating, by the way. Like, her son is responsible for that. So, yeah, like, what exactly are they supposed to do about that? Also, Rukia would be coming over to check up on Orihime, but also on the subject of, the whole tower and all the other locations. Orihime wouldn't think anything of it, anything all that much of it. Rukia would just kind of be flabbergasted and frustrated, all that jazz and jizz and whatever. Yeah, things would have gotten really something else whenever it came to what used to be a happy group of friends. But now, no one seems to know what to do. Indeed, this would be interesting. So, with that all in, with all of that taken in, and of course, Izuku would do his routine cleaning and sharpening of his Zanpakuto back in its, unreleased state. And, he would just put it back in the little glass, case that would be on the shelf on his wall. And, Izuku would go off into his dreams, thinking how he had actually gotten through to his father in a very strange way, but he had indeed gotten through to him. However, he hopes that his father can understand that he doesn't want to be a part of that life anymore. And he also hopes that his mother can understand that as well. That he had left that life a long time ago. So, yeah. I'm gonna say Alan's the Dallas Deduction of Maverick is OUT out of here. Yeah, boys. Like, favorite, subscribe. Click that little bell. Something in the comment section. And I'm a bounce like it's Quidditch. 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 Giggity giggity. Alright.